Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. Had to make sure everything was playing. We had to make sure we got the hip-hop going. It's important to me, you know what I mean? But no audio issues today. I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah,
Finally.
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I'm very excited for our show tonight. It's like I miss everybody over the weekend. You know what I mean? It's like we do the show on Thursday and then I don't see anybody or have a show again until Monday. And for some reason, I think about it during the weekend. And even on a long day like today where I work 12 hours, I'm like excited to do the show. I'm exhausted, but I'm ready. You know what I mean? My body is ready. A lot of stuff happening in the world. We got a great guest tonight. But before we get too far into it, of course, we want to talk about some sponsors. We got TopLobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Break the Cycle custom logo dark camo hoodie that you see me wearing tonight by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or you can join the Patreon, subscribe star, become a member of the YouTube channel under all of my videos by hitting the join link, where you can get into a private Discord server and hang out with Ryan all day. But you also get Top Lobster's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. I know it's been a while since he's dropped some new stuff, but I know he's also working on a lot of new stuff. So hopefully that stuff will be dropped to patrons of the Break the Cycle show early before anybody else can get it at a really good discount. And if you're supporting the show at like $5 to $10 a month and buying Top Lobster's new gear, you're really saving money and supporting us both in a really cool, great way. And Top works his ass off, not just for this show, but for Odyssey, for other shows. He's drawn for all kinds of Legion of Skanks and Skank Fest, and I mean, the guy does fucking everything, so go support him. If you don't support me, at least go support him. But support us both. That's the way. That's the way. And, of course, executive producers of the show, AnthemPlanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today, see what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at, much cheaper and much more efficiently. They help organizations solve unsolvable problems in the technology and HR arenas. They serve clients in New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, and their client list is growing, including the state. I mean, they'll help you any state, but those are just the states they have clients in right now. Their team leads by example. Anthem consultants have led their own organizations through demanding periods of change. Now they help clients succeed in the face of technology and personnel challenges. Plus, I say it all the time, Amy Lepore is an absolute champion, not just for Liberty, but for the people that she works for, her clients. She's just an amazing person all around. So go check them out. See if you can get some help from them, because I promise you they're going to make things great. And, of course, I did mess this whole thing up. Executive producer of the show, Colwell Creative Content. They specialize in things like SEO to help your site rank well on Google or other search engines, website design, optimized website content writing, optimized blog posts, copywriting, social media content management, newsletter writing and design, ghostwriting and editing services, resume and cover letter writing. And they've worked with all kinds of clients, including real estate, addiction treatment, mental health, healthcare, banking and payment processing.
Not the Federal Reserve.
Not the Federal Reserve or the CIA podcast. They've worked with just about every industry, even libertarian political candidates and influencers, such as Larry Sharp, my good friend and mentor in politics, Mr. Larry Sharp. And if they're good enough for Larry, I promise you they're good enough for... That guy literally trains CEOs for a living. That's his
Only
job.
the best for Larry.
Only the best for Mr. Larry. God give him the strength to become the next governor of New York. God, that'd be amazing. They've been in business since 2012, and they've worked with hundreds of clients. Help them get you in front of your target audience, man. I'm telling you, they're going to help you out. And they're priced very fairly, too. I was looking into it. Very fairly. They really can help you out for a good price, man. Much better than any of the other marketing people I've looked into for the show. So definitely check them out. Man, before we introduce our guest tonight, let's check in with my very well-haired guest, Mr. Ryan Kurtz, or guest host, co-host, Ryan Kurtz. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everyone in chat doing? While you're answering that, can I get some yep cocks real quick? The rooster emote will work just as well.
Please, for the love of God, give this man a yep cocks in the chat. He's been asking you every single Monday and Thursday for over a month now.
I'm just a little cock slut over here.
He's just ready for some yep cocks. Listen, he doesn't understand that this isn't Twitch. That's what's really going on. So.
I mean, to be fair, when I started doing it, we were on Twitch as well.
Right. And we will be back on Twitch eventually.
We will.
Once I figure out this upstream issue, hopefully by the beginning of next month, we should be good. And tonight, on the show. I'm very excited about this. My good friend, I've been talking to this gentleman for quite some time. He's a big Mises Caucus supporter, California libertarian, apparently a writer, director who put out a new movie recently. I know on IMDb it says 2021, but I think that was a soft release for some festivals or something like that. But just like 10 days ago, released to the public his movie he edited. He is Mr. Adam Choit. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
No, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Are you from California originally?
I'm from New York originally, from Long Island.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you had a bit of an accent. It sounded, East Coast-ish. And so I wasn't sure, but I didn't want to assume your state ethnicity. But
yeah, I appreciate that. I lost the accent over the years, I think, a little bit, but there's still a little bit there.
It's there, dude. It's there, and California will still any ounce of culture that you have in you. That's just how it works. I'm from there, born and raised, and it wasn't until I ventured out that I realized that, like, wow, California doesn't really have its own culture. It's just kind of soul sucking. And then you get like you go to the South, and then you go to some other place, some parts of Florida, and you're like, man, there's just culture everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mexico is the culture in Southern California.
Yeah, in Southern California for sure. And God bless it. It's a great culture. I mean, for the most part, the food is really good. The music's it's all right, but it can be really annoying at like 2:00 in the morning when they're having quinceañeras and shit.
What music isn't annoying at 2 a.m.?
But I'll tell you, living in Mexican neighborhoods was like my very favorite when I lived in California, because they would be up all fucking night long, but they'd invite me over. They'd give me fucking cervezas. They'd bring us tamales all the time. You know what I mean? Like, because they knew they were going to be loud and they were going to have parties and shit. So they wanted their neighbors to be. They weren't bad neighbors. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kept their yards cleaner than anybody else in the fucking neighborhood. I mean, it was dope, dude. I couldn't be mad about it. But anyways, you just put out this new short film. That's very Orwellian. It's great stuff. I really enjoyed it. I watched it months ago. Ryan just finally watched it today.
I appreciate that for sure, both of you.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So the edited, what was the the premise behind this? Why did you want to make this movie, and what do you hope to accomplish with it?
Well, I made the movie actually a couple of maybe a few years ago. Actually, at this point, when it was originally conceived and written and shot and all that, and the world was actually quite different before 2020, as you guys are aware. So the movie, while I do think it's somewhat prescient. Maybe not as much so as it could have been,
Yeah, no shit, right?
Seeing what's going on now in the world. But I brought it to a nonprofit organization that actually no longer exists, called Taliesin Nexus. And they're actually one of the few out there that support liberty-minded people in terms of the creative spaces, filmmaking, writing, and a lot of different creative areas. And I brought an idea to them. It was actually about a school of zombies. Basically, kind of, it was what this was inspired by. Oh, wow. But through the development process and getting feedback from pro writers and people who know what they're talking about, we kind of developed the idea into what it ultimately became.
Nice, man. And I mean, you're a pretty devout. Would you say anarcho-capitalist at this point, or what
I just say libertarian, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I'm just a guy.
I'm just a dude playing another dude. You know what I mean?
I feel like the short film might have been inspired by that one tweet that went viral in like 2015, where it was some chick just went, well, in 1984 they had like mandatory exercise. We should have that.
Oh Jesus! Wait, did they had Twitter in 2015?
Yeah, Twitter's as old as 2006.
Jeez, I didn't even know that, dude. I think I joined Twitter in 2016, the first time.
On and off a few times.
I just hit 9 years on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, I want to say I don't know. I started my Twitter probably around 2016, and I'm on my, like, I don't know, at least 7th or 8th account at this point, because Twitter just really doesn't like when you say no words. You know what I mean? But I've learned how to play the game a little better. Instead of E, you can throw a 3 in there.
Throwing some elite speak in there.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Like,
and that's,
you were ever a big enough loser to actually use that.
Dude, one of my favorite pastimes was when I was stationed in Florida in the military. Okay, this was around the time that Counter-Strike came out. You remember Counter-Strike, the video game, the computer game?
The original,
I do. I had friends, roommates played it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, both. Well, Source came out much later than this. This was in 2003, 2003, 2004.
I know about the history of Counter-Strike, but I would have been 8.
So there was in Pensacola, Florida. Okay, I was not 21 yet. So you could not go out and drink. You know what I mean, in Pensacola, because it was like military. They were really crazy about it. So there was this place downtown Pensacola. I don't remember the fucking name of it, but it was literally a giant building that was one LAN party.
That
every night.
Awesome.
And I would go down there and I'd play Counter-Strike. And then there was a club right next door to it that was an after-hours club that opened at 2 o'clock in the morning called Bedlam. And it was BYOB. So you would bring your own beer to the club and they'd put it behind a bar and serve it to you, your own beer. And somehow, underage, we'd be able to go to Bedlam with our own 20-pack of Bud Light or Bud and give them our beer, and they would serve us our own beer back, and we would just tip them all night, right? So we'd go and do the LAN party until 2 o'clock in the morning, and they'd close, and then we'd go to the club and dance and party and drink beers at 19 years old. So I was nerdy enough to do these kind of things. Okay?
Yeah, but you weren't a big enough loser because you went to the club.
Well, of course, dude. You gotta get you a girl who can do both. You know what I mean? So Adam, you on IMDb this movie says it came out in 2021. Did you soft release it? Was it some film festivals or something that you did?
Right. It played at a bunch of festivals, including Freedom Fest, which was super cool. I actually did not end up going. I got COVID around that time.
That sucks.
I wanted to get it there. That was my plan. My plan and my destiny was to get it there and be part of something. But I had it before, and I didn't feel well also on top of it.
Sure.
So I wanted to make it happen. But it played at a bunch of festivals in 2021, and then just like you said, 9-10 days ago, I just dropped it online. I'm like, I can't sit on this anymore. I want to share this with the world and get it out there for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's an important message. For those of you who haven't watched it, of course, I'm going to put it in the show notes so that you can find it. And it is a really kind of like a stark reminder of what we're dealing with right now, especially with this Alex Jones thing that just happened. Where it's obvious that free speech is under attack if it's the kind of speech that the government doesn't like, which is something that we probably should talk about a little bit on this show too. Alex Jones being fined $1 billion.
Yeah, and they're now pursuing him paying out up to $2.75 trillion.
Right.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's basically death. It's basically death.
Yeah, Alex Jones, the large country, like he's been ordered to pay out the GDP of a small country. Now they're like, all right, enough with the small time stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to pay
net worth.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna need you to pay an eighth of the financial or the federal debt. Okay, just pay it off, please. Fuck it. Well, and I think a lot of it was, and we talked about that. I was on a show called We Hate the State, or actually We Love the State, with a good friend of mine, Andy Coons, last night. Me and Clint both went on, and we talked quite a bit about this Alex Jones thing and what it means for the future of free speech and stuff like that. And I think obviously they want to set a precedent. Okay, if you say things that we don't agree with, we're going to fucking destroy you. And I'm saying $1 billion is a lot of money, but what it was with Alex and Clint from Liberty Lockdown made a really good point on this. By the way, Clint will be on the show on Thursday. That'll be a fun show too. Clint said, look, this is why they're going after him. They had already canceled him entirely. I mean, from everything: PayPal, Coinbase, fucking YouTube, Twitter. I mean, he's canceled from everywhere. He has to do his own thing, but he kept doing his own thing. Okay, and to the point of where he was still financially in the green.
Yeah, and he
even
was
after
financially successful,
very successful. Even after all of these places had canceled him, the government said, "Oh shit, we can't touch him." But you know how we can get him is we can take a fucking $1 billion from him. And so then after that happens, okay, then he goes, "Okay, $1 billion. We're gonna raise the money." right? And they're like, oh, no, he could raise $1 billion. Holy shit, what if he does that, right? And so now they're like, okay, $2.75 trillion, fuck you. Good luck raising that, right? That's really what it is, okay? And it is. They're trying to make an absolute example out of him, just like they did with, the federal government did with Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing, dude. It's like, if you don't listen to us, and we talked a lot about Kanye too, and I think we should talk more about Kanye on this show too, is they're trying to do the same thing to Kanye because, and I said this on the show last night, there's nothing progressives hate more than a black person who steps out of line. Literally nothing. There's nothing they hate more. And Clint brought up the point. Yeezy may be the most influential black man of our time. Legitimately. There's 7 to 8 billion people on Earth, and I'd venture to say at minimum half of them know who he is. Legitimately. That's a huge platform. And he's saying things that go against the narrative. He talks shit about COVID. Obviously, he said some things about Jews. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to preface this what I'm about to say with, when hip hop started, when hip hop started in the 70s and 80s, the artists were coming directly from the street, and they had no idea how the music industry worked whatsoever. And at that time, and still to this day, much of the music industry, record executives, managers, agents, happen to have a disproportionate amount of Jewish people that represent those roles. And at that time was the big push to start making more money for the record labels. So they did really kind of take advantage of these kids from the street. So in that culture, in that hip hop culture, that's kind of a thing that is talked about frequently. And Easy just said it out loud. But I don't think that he was like, oh, all Jews are bad, or you know what I mean? But in his mind and the way he works, and if you've ever watched Kanye, his thought progression is not normal. It's not a normal way, right? And I don't think he's a crazy person. I think he's probably a genius.
Yeah.
I really do believe that.
He's somewhat crazy, but he's also a genius.
Which is it's a thin line, right? And they say that. Yeah. I mean, Albert Einstein was a crazy person too. But I think that in his thinking, he's coming at it from that hip hop angle, where the industry has been dominated by people of Jewish faith. I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
I think we're not allowed to make that observation. That's essentially where you are. You're not allowed to just like observe that there is a disproportionate amount of Jewish people working in entertainment. It's like a third rail, I guess, in our culture and society. I'm still waiting for my benefits to come in as a Jewish person working in entertainment. When do I get all my perks?
You have to be invited to the cabal first.
Tracks.
You have to be invited into the cabal first, dude. That's how it works.
Right.
I don't
I think Kanye's just really talking about a select few. It's the same thing like talking about Israel's policies, like Dave Smith and all you guys talk about all the time. It's like separating people from governments. You could criticize Israel's government without hating the people of the country. Like they say, like if you have criticized something about France, you're not like against all French people and some sort of bigot. It's
don't get me wrong. I absolutely am against all French people.
Yeah, I think most of us are pretty much against French people.
Hey,
I was watching the fights this Saturday. I had me and Adric, my 11-year-old son, were watching the fights this week, and there was an American. It was a female fight, the first fight on the card, on the main card, and it was a American fighter versus a French fighter. And the French fighter she's a badass, dude. She's like fucking tough as nails, and I knew she was gonna win. But my son's like, "Oh, are we rooting for the French one, Dad?" I said, "No, son, we never root for the French."
She didn't just like surrender immediately.
We never root for the French. And he just like, "Why, Dad?" I was like, "I'll explain it to you when you're much older," But it was kind of a funny, because I knew she was gonna win. She's tough as nails, dude. There was no way, but it was pretty crazy. But yeah, I that's how I feel about this whole situation too. And I spent a lot of my time. I'm half Israeli, Adam, right? My dad's side of the family's from Israel, so You know, I have a Jewish bloodline as well, and my dad's side of the family are like hardcore anti-Zionist Jews, dude. Like they hate the state of Israel too. They will tell they have, you know, his parents are from Israel and cousins and everybody, all of them will tell you like, yes, our country is an apartheid state. You know what I mean? Like they will legitimately tell you that. And yes, it's terroristic. And yes, it's a, you know, the Zionists are tyrants, and yes, they're pushing for all these wars around them in the Middle East, and you know, so I say those things, and people call me anti-Semitic, and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? First of all, anti-Semitic could mean Jewish, Palestinian. I mean, you know what I mean? Semitism is not just the Jews. That's the first thing that has been like kind of fucked up. Do you not know the word? Look the word up.
No,
right now.
I don't.
Look up the word, dude, right now. Pull it up, Jamie. That's
Jamie or Ian.
That was Ian. Same thing. That's the first crazy thing, like conspiracy that's been pulled on people, is that it literally can mean more than just the Jews. Okay. And so I criticize Israel, and people call me anti-Semitic all the time, and I just laugh, dude. You know what I mean? Like I think Israel, you know, the state, the country of Israel, the government of Israel, and the people who run Israel, not just Jewish people. There's all kinds of great Jewish people everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I fucking have tons of Jewish friends that I love to death, and I don't think they're in some conspiracy to take over the Middle East and displace people from their homes, and you know what I mean? It's just crazy to me that that's the thing that can get you shut down so badly, is just by saying that. I don't know, Adam.
Does Kanye have Jewish friends? I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt, dude. There's no
so
doubt.
Then he's not talking about all Jewish people when he's criticizing, or even just making an observation.
But then if you say that though, right? Then if you say, oh yeah, well, Kanye's got Jewish friends, and then all the left's like, oh yeah, I got a black friend. They always, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, I probably have more black friends back home than I do white friends, and they would have probably shot me if I was actually a racist. You know what I mean?
The definition of Semitic is of, relating to, or constituting a subfamily of the Afro-Semitic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramic, Arabic.
There you go.
Amharic.
You know what the Palestinians speak?
Arabic.
Yeah. So anti-Semitism.
That's a very broad term.
Isn't it fucking crazy that somehow that term has been used to just describe not like being racist against Jewish people? Isn't that just crazy to you?
When did that change? I guess we don't know.
No one knows.
Those language games happen all the time.
It blows my mind, dude.
All of the fucking time.
Like
when I was 10, homophobic meant you were afraid of gay people.
Right.
Now it means that you hate them.
Yeah, you hate them, or you don't agree with their lifestyle but don't want them oppressed. It's like anything that
is short of celebrating them is
what the left did to the term liberal should have proven to us that language means absolutely fucking nothing to those people, dude, whatsoever. Zero.
It means everything to them because that's how they control. It's a big tool for control, of course, is the use of the language.
Which goes back to your movie, kind of.
Right. It's fun. You know, it's funny. I made this observation. I don't know if this is true either. I should Google this, but I had a deep stoner thought about the word spell. Like the word spell is like means like, you know, the combination of letters that make a word or whatever. But a spell is actually something that one can use to control or like influence environment. Is that literally what the words, because words are sort of used to control, is the spell like a magical spell and spell like the spelling a word? Do those things actually tie in together and kind of come from the same?
Shit, I never even thought about
the same etymology or whatever.
I guess kind of the putting together of different elements to create something like that is kind of similar, but like wizard spell can mean a lot of that can have such a broad range. What it can mean, it doesn't have to mean. It can be like a Harry Potter spell, or there's a lot that goes into like magic and spells and hard magic versus soft magic, and there's a whole level of
Christ,
nerdy
dude.
literature about this whole subject, so it can go pretty deep.
Wow.
There's slides a hand or whatever done with words and as well. That's kind of like what I'm like. I wonder if there's a connection between those
Sleight
things.
of hand.
Yeah.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah, it's SLEIGHT. Sleight of hand.
Not slide. You're not like sliding your hands.
No,
No.
it's a
Sleight. It's like a sleight. It's like a look what I'm doing with this hand while I do something else with this hand. Sleight.
That's okay. I have high EQ, not as high IQ, so it's just all good.
Who gives a
Even-
fuck
yeah,
about
it
IQ?
evens
Well,
out.
if you had high IQ, you would know that EQ is bullshit.
Oh, damn. See what I mean?
Jesus fuck.
I took
Ryan.
an online test, though. I took an online 20-question
Yeah,
survey.
that's all it takes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Somewhat agree, somewhat disagree.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about IQ. In fact, anytime I see someone online talking about their IQ, I automatically want to fucking bitch slap them, dude. Like legitimately, like you're probably the dumbest person online if you're talking about how high your IQ is. Sorry. And I'm just gonna call you a retard.
I kind of the same way, yeah.
Like legitimately, when I see people talking, like especially in an argument on Twitter, and they're like, "Dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Listen to me. My IQ is like 160." I'm like, "Dude, you're probably the biggest retard on the site because you just brought up your IQ in an argument. No one gives a shit about your IQ. Like, talk about the
Like
biggest."
Ted Kaczynski had one of the highest IQs like known to man. He was probably in like the
Based.
170s, but
Fucking
you know,
based, dude.
yeah, but he
Good old
didn't
Uncle Ted's
exactly-
cabin, huh?
He wasn't exactly, you know, a good person.
He had a low EQ.
Yeah, his EQ, his EQ wasn't very high. I actually don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about with EQ.
Emotional quotient is what it's called. It's essentially a term that a bunch of midwits made up, so they don't have to feel bad about not being as smart as
Dude,
smart
my
as
co-host
actual
is
smart
totally the
people.
kind of guy that would drop his IQ in an argument, aren't you? Oh, Jesus, dude.
try. Well, actually, I don't know my IQ.
Oh my god, dude! The
I
man
can-
bun is starting to make sense now.
I don't know my IQ. I can guesstimate it, but it's not midwit. I can tell you that.
I tried to take an online test for that one, actually an IQ one, and it was kind of hard and got boring after a short while. So I didn't even get through it. So that's probably not a great
sounds
sign
like me
for
in school. I was like in elementary school. I was in like the gifted, talented like classes.
Okay.
And then by middle school, I was so fucking bored that I like wouldn't do my work and like just would fuck with people. It was like boring to me. You know what I mean? It got to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. It's way too boring for me. And and I dropped out of high school. You guys, you know, I don't really talk about this on my podcast, but I dropped out of high school at the beginning of my sophomore
Tim
year.
Pool.
Huh? So I dropped out of high school at the beginning of my sophomore year because I just felt like I didn't need school. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't giving me the satisfaction and the education that I felt like I needed. So I dropped out at the beginning of my sophomore year, and then I took my GED right as I turned 18 years old and scored like in the top 5 percentile in the country on my GED, and then scored very high on my ASVAB for the military and went in the military like a fucking dummy. So really my IQ probably isn't that high, but my street IQ, motherfucker, is like higher than most people's, you know. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Because those are two very different things.
yeah, those are different things. Like you've lived much more broad and diverse life
Crazy
than I
fucking
have.
life. It's been crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
you've
Like, insane.
lived an insane life, and I've lived the quiet life that I've wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't start reading. I didn't like really start diving into like literature and reading and economics and fucking political theory and philosophy and all that shit until I was like in my late 20s. It wasn't until after Ron Paul's campaign in 2008. So I turned 21. Yeah, it had to be like 2010. So like 12 years ago is when I really started diving into like literature. You know, I read Dean Koontz books and Stephen King books and shit like that growing up, you know what I mean? But I didn't start diving into like educational shit on my own until I was well into my late 20s. But I could understand it pretty well by then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, the thing I got in trouble most for school was reading in class. I do it all the time.
You're such a dork.
Oh yeah, I was absolutely a dork. Like in high school, all I cared about was being good at stuff. That was all I cared about.
We gotta get you a pair of Yeezys, dude.
Pair of
gotta do
Yeezys. I got Under Armour
Yeah, what
shoes.
the fuck? Are those? They're not even the Steph Currys, dude. You gotta at least get the chefs, bro. They're the best Under Armour
Do
shoes
they-
made. I don't think there's any better ones.
Do they come in like extra wide?
Yeah, of course they do, dude.
Okay, I don't know.
Basketball shoes. Anyways, Adam,
What up?
You got to choose one right now: Ukraine or Russia. Go.
Oh no. Oh man. I'm not gonna choose any of them.
Good. Smart. That's the smart move on Break the Cycle. I get that. Now there's the Progressive Caucus. I don't know if anybody knows about this, but the Progressive Caucus of the Democrat Party, I think it's 12 legislators, federal legislators, are now pushing the Biden administration to get into peace talks with Putin. And the fucking Ukrainian Ukrainian flag blue checks on Twitter are losing their absolute minds.
Okay, is AOC a part of this?
I don't think so.
Okay, did you see her getting bitched out at like local events
Yes.
recently?
Yeah, because so there's there's a lot of these blue checks that have the fucking Ukrainian flag in their name on Twitter or bio, and they're losing their mind. No, absolutely not. No peace with terrorists. Blah 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 blah. These people are literally pushing for a fucking hot war, funded by America, a hot proxy war funded by America against Russia and China, literally simultaneously.
Because they don't understand the consequences whatsoever, because they haven't bothered to take the 2 seconds to think about it. They just go with whatever their emotions say they should go with.
Just blows my mind, dude. Like, you would rather have fucking nuclear holocaust than peace talks.
They don't think a nuclear holocaust is a possibility.
It's because they're fucking retarded.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
There's 3 big nuclear superpowers in this country. We happen to be one of them. China happens to be another one. And Russia happens to be the third. What do you think's going to happen if there's a World War III between
and the
three
glorious Democratic People's Republic of Korea?
Oh, North Korea, yeah, of course. Don't forget their. I'm sure they have a wonderful fucking nuclear program. I don't think they do. I think a lot of it's lies.
Oh, North Korea lying to people? Who could have ever seen that one?
Bro, these
coming?
are the same people that put fake food on grocery store shelves for journalists to see when they came into the country. I mean, they're.
Well, fun fact about North Korea, most starvation deaths happen in the winter because people can't go out and eat bugs during the winter.
Yeah.
Because that's how they sustain themselves
the bugs are missing in the
the
winter,
rest of the year.
Damn. Have you seen those? I was going to ask if you've seen those like satellite images of North Korea and South Korea, like where it's all lit up. Yeah. Is that real?
I'm
assuming it's real.
I don't think it's real. I think it was a hoax. Yeah.
For the
there's like a satellite picture of North and South Korea, and like North Korea is all lit up and vibrant, and South Korea is like completely pitch black. I think it was.
It's the other way around, but South Korea is all lit up and vibrant.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, and there's just a couple of lights on in the capital.
Yeah, dude, I just mixed up North and South, dude.
The vast majority of people in North Korea don't have electricity.
I think that was a hoax, though. I think the picture was a hoax.
The picture could have been a hoax, but it would have been an accurate reflection of the states of North and South Korea.
I don't think it is. I think it's wrong. I think they'd have power.
Most people in North Korea don't.
I don't believe that.
I've read firsthand accounts.
They're not living like parts of, Saharan desert in Africa. I mean, they have power.
Most people in North Korea don't have power.
I don't believe that.
They heat their homes
and I don't
via
like North
wood
Korea.
and dung fires.
I really hate North Korea, but I'm telling you, I don't believe
you
that.
should read Youngmin Park's In Order to Live.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Great book.
I know she is. She escaped from the DPRK or whatever the hell is that.
That's the
Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, DPRK or whatever.
Anyways. Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Yeah, DPR in K. I know she is, but she also, I mean, she made a lot of fucking money when she came over here to tell her story. You know what I mean? It's one person. We're talking about one person.
She made a lot of money after she wrote her book. But
no, she made a lot of money prior to that doing speaking events. She was getting like $25,000 a speak or something. Like a shit ton of money, dude.
Yeah.
Like a lot of money. I mean, if you had a grift like that, wouldn't you play it up too? Fuck yeah, you would.
But
the refugee game.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, I'm not going to take the word of one person. I want to hear way more accounts about power in North Korea.
I bet it's not good. That's where I'm putting my money, to be
I'm
honest
sure it's
with
not
you.
great, but I don't think that amount of people go without power every day there. I really don't. I think that's definitely a hyperbolic statement.
I don't think it is.
We're gonna test this out. Me and you are going to go to North Korea and do live journalism on the ground there. Have you ever seen?
I can't wait to get thrown into.
Have you ever seen
camp.
the interview? Have you ever seen the interview?
I have seen the interview.
We're gonna do it. Me and you, buddy. It'll be fun.
I'm going to South Korea.
They hate us because they ain't us. His face right now. He's like, we're not going to fucking North Korea, dude. We're going to North Korea. We're going to do this. I'm going to get the documents, Alex Jones style, dog. Okay? I'm going to jump the fence, and we're going to get pictures and the documents. No, I'm sure that what she's saying is true. I mean, a lot of it. I don't believe it all. I want to see cold, hard facts about that. I'm not simping for North Korea. I think North Korea is a terrible communist fucking hellhole, juche hellhole. Same fucking thing. It's all communism. But
I have no reason not to believe her.
Yeah. Well, people make a lot of money saying a lot of things, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. But
Hey, listen, you had no reason to not believe Anthony Fauci either.
I absolutely did. He's a state agent.
Okay.
What?
He stood to make a lot of money.
Is Miss Park a state agent?
He stood to make a lot. Listen, anytime there's a lot of money involved, I'm skeptical. That's it. And I will be skeptical until I get absolute proof. Right? Same way I was with COVID regime. I knew right away. Pharmaceutical companies. Anthony Fauci.
She didn't come to the United States for speaking engagements to start with. She came to go to Columbia
on a full scholarship.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And she started doing speaking engagements.
Literally
the day she got here.
Yeah, because she has a unique and interesting story.
Okay, but everything you're saying, there's still, like, you got to understand that there's so much money involved in this. And anytime there's money involved and it's one person that's a talking head for something, I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I mean? That's just how it's going to be for me. I'm a healthy skeptic. Healthy skeptic. You know that. I'm as skeptical as Alex Jones, dude.
Yeah, you're incredibly skeptical.
I'm probably more skeptical than
I'm skeptical, but I have no reason not to believe her.
So, anyways, Adam, Sandy Hook, did it happen?
I'm still thinking about. I'm still processing the conversation. Yeonmi Park, is that how you say her name?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't expect that we would be going after her credibility in this episode. So
and I don't listen, and like it's not that. That's not where I'm at. Like I'm not necessarily saying that she's a liar.
Yeah, I've had this similar conversation.
She could be 100% telling the truth across the board.
The people that consistently claim she's a liar are all communists. It's wild.
Sure, and I hate fucking. I don't think anybody in the room hates communists more than I do. Okay, I really don't. Like I'm half Pinochet, dude. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that they're the same as normal humans. I don't.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? But I'm serious, dude. Like I'm dead serious. Like I fucking hate communists, dude. I do. Now there are some leftists out there, and we talked about this last night with Clint as well. There are some leftists out there, the real leftists, the real hardcore leftists that are still anti-war, pro-gun, pro-free speech. Like, you know what, dude? You guys are all right, man. I don't like your fucking economics, but as long as you are pro those things, like I'll work on those issues with you. But the like Marxist Leninists that want to control all that shit, fuck them. Like I hate them.
And it's weird. A fair amount of the friends that I have that are like communists or Leninists, they're very anti-state.
No, there's no such thing as a Marxist Leninist. MLs are so pro fucking state.
How they think.
They say they're anti-state.
Should go after stripping, the federal government of the vast majority of its power is absolutely batshit insane because they're like, we won't have money, we'll have labor vouchers, and it's like it's the exact same goddamn
who's gonna hand
thing.
Those out?
You fucking moron.
It's even. Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same thing, and they're like, no, it's different
and worse, dude.
It's different. Yeah. It's money, but it's just money, but worse.
And to Adam's story in his movie, they're going to tell you which books you can read, what classes you can take, what words you're allowed to say, and if you don't follow those things, you're probably going to die. You know what I mean? And that's how communism works. It's, communism is always one death away from utopia. That's how it works, dude. One death away from utopia. 100 million wasn't enough in the 20th century. They just needed 100 million and one, and they would have achieved full utopia. That's literally how they think. You know what I mean? It blows my fucking mind. I don't know. So Adam,
what up?
How do you feel about Democrats now kind of coming out and saying that we need to get some peace talks going with Russia, man? What do you think?
I don't think it's all of them.
I don't think.
I think they're all pro Putin. They're all Putin apologists.
Yeah, the thing about peace talks is, and coming out, and some people wanting it now. Why aren't we doing this all the time? One is allowed to have peace talks at any time, any place. I mean, that should be priority for humanity, but our whole culture and society and the powers that be don't really promote those ideas, it would seem. Right. They could be talking about peace anytime. Why now? You have to wait till more people die and the money is made already.
Well, I think that the Ukrainian grift, I mean, we're sending billions and billions. We sent more money to Zelensky and Ukraine in a month period than we have to Israel in the last decade. That's wild, dude. Ugh. It's wild to think about, bro.
That's great. And we sent them more than Russia's entire GDP.
Right.
Yeah, which the people with Ukraine flags in their bios, like, oh my God, Russia sucks so much, they're losing. Well, first of all, I don't
believe they're losing the war.
I don't have a fucking clue because I don't trust any of that. But second of all, yeah, the side with more money typically is gonna take the advantage. And they're just getting shoveled money.
They are getting shoveled money. A lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
billions and billions of dollars.
That they can spend however they want with zero consequences or accountability.
From me and my grandma and my mom and my sisters who have nothing to do with the fucking war whatsoever. It just blows my mind, dude. But here's the thing. And I anytime I bring this up on a show or in writing or on Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh, you're a fucking pro Putin simp, right?" And like, I fuck Russia too, and Putin, okay? Putin. But I'll tell you this much: I'm old enough to remember what happened to Libya and Gaddafi, okay? And if I bring that up, everyone's like, "Oh, you're a Gaddafi simp." No, I remember Gaddafi came out very, very, very loudly against the West and them trying to get them on the petrodollar and central banking and all these things that they were saying, you have to be a part of our scheme if you want to have your own country. And Gaddafi said, no, absolutely not. Basically, his speech was, we're not going to cuck to the West. We're going to do our own thing. And then all of a sudden, the headlines in the news were Gaddafi's killing his own people. Gaddafi is a tyrant. Gaddafi is this, he's that, he's that. We have to go take him out. We have to go to Libya and kill him. And they went to Libya and killed him. And then installed their own puppet democracy, right? Now, Russia, I've watched the speeches from Putin, translated by Russians, okay, into English so that I can understand them entirely. It's the same thing, dude. He's saying we will not cuck to the West. We will not have, trans people and cross-dressers reading to our children with their dicks hanging out. Like these are literally things that he's saying, okay? He said, we're not going...
Vladimir Putin follows libs of TikTok.
Yeah, dude, like...
Perfect translation.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. This is really what he's saying. He's saying things like this. We won't cuck to your economic scheme, your world economics. Like, we're not going to be a part of that. Now, Russia is the largest landmass country in the world. And it's not close. Okay, you could fit a lot of Alaskas in Russia. It's about the same temperature. Okay. They also have the most resources because they happen to be the biggest landmass country in the world. Okay. So if you have all that and you're telling the West, who largely, in my opinion, at this point is run by the World Economic, okay, and all their little junior leaders.
Larry Fink.
And I fucking hate Klaus Schwab too. I think but he's giving them the middle finger in these speeches. We're not going to become what you guys are becoming. We're not going to have this. Not going to be what Russia is. have our own culture, we have our own way of trading, we have our own money, have our own oil, you know. So we're not going to do that. And then all of a sudden, okay, we're at war with Russia. Or we're talking about going to war with Russia.
It's because they interfered
happening,
in the 2016 election.
As this shit is happening, right? To me, it looks like another Libya. It looks like another, hey, we need to give them some good old world democracy because they're not going to go along to get along. And this has been, and anybody with a cursory overview of Google and Britain and the United States and their involvement in Iran in the 50s, right? It's the same thing. The Iranians finally said, you know what? We're going to go democratic. They elected Mohammad Mossadegh. He became the first democratically elected prime minister of Iran. It was looking like the 50s in America there. They had Chevy Bel Airs. The women were wearing cigarette dresses. The men were wearing trench coats and suits. They had neon signs and shit. They were like fucking really becoming like a modernized country. And Mohammad Mossadegh was not the Shah. And he said, you know what, Britain? We're not going to fucking just freely give you all of our oil at this price anymore. You're going to have to actually take care of our country to have this oil. And so what did Britain and America do? They fucking, and
they
this is
sent
all
over
this
some
is not
truckloads
a
of freedom.
This is not a conspiracy theory, okay? This is actually declassified documents that you can read that Britain's MI6 and the Americans went in and created a coup to remove their democratically elected prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. In fact, killed many of his family members and shit, and reinstituted theological rule, okay, the Shah. And then went right back to the way the oil was before. So you're going to tell me that those are the people, that institution is the people you're going to believe to tell you about another foreign policy. I would have never trusted another foreign policy after that. Now we're talking about that. Also in the 60s, our CIA aimed to the executive branch of the United States and said, we want to go to war with Cuba. So to create the support to go to war with Cuba and take Cuba, we're going to run false flag attacks on our own people, blame it on Cuba, and then we're going to go in and take Cuba away. You know who said no to that? Yes. Hold on. Adam, do you know who said no to that?
One of the politicians from a rich family from New England.
Very rich family from New England. Yes, Mr.
What's his name?
Mr. JFK.
One of our most open-minded presidents.
The most open-minded president. Yes.
Oh man, too soon.
Too soon. He's the one that said no. He stamped no. Fuck that. We're not going to do that. Of course, that man tragically died by some, random
mysterious
schizophrenic man,
old age,
shot him from 7,000 yards away, and
Did you see that? I was gonna. Did you see Ben Shapiro came out with some like anti-conspiracy theory video against like the JFK assassin? I didn't watch it, but I saw that came out. Like I was like, that's lame.
It's weird how like incredibly unbased Ben Shapiro
becoming,
but like Matt Walsh is like becoming super based.
I fucking love. I don't even give a shit what anybody says. I love Matt Walsh, dude. I watched his fucking. I watched his what is a woman? His what is a woman?
Oh, what is a woman is great.
And me and Julia just sat there and watched that thing like holy shit, dude. And then the end was just perfect. If you haven't watched it, I'm not gonna ruin it for you.
I've seen every
the way that ends was just perfect way to end that documentary.
It was well done.
Yeah, it was very well done. And so if Mohammad Mossadegh and the coup led by our own country in Iran wasn't enough, and then Operation Northwoods wasn't enough, what's it going to take for you to understand that this government will always fucking lie to you about foreign conflict to get your support for their side of the conflict?
There is absolutely nothing that will convince so many of these people, because
I agree.
Even if they know that the government is lying, they don't care, because they're like, okay, what can I do about it?
Right. And there's so many of us, dude. And I think it's that I don't think it's that they don't care. I think it's that they don't want to believe it. And when
it's
you're
easier not to believe it.
when you're not an open-minded, brave person, I'll say brave. What do you think, Adam? That's probably a good word. When you're not an open-mindedly brave person, you don't want to believe bad things about the people who rule over you, and you certainly don't want to say them out loud, right? Because you're not brave enough to say those things out loud because it's an unpopular position, and unbrave people don't take unpopular positions.
Yeah.
Because unpopular positions means that you're going to have to take flack, right? It's just like
Absolutely.
You're over the target, you're taking flack. That's how it works, and you're not brave enough to take that flack. And so that's the truth of it, in my opinion, is that a lot of these people do know that and do believe that, but they refuse to let themselves take the flack or be brave enough to say it out loud.
Of course, because the need to fit in is very, very strong for most people.
Yeah.
And then the people that don't really give a shit about it, that's what we call the Libertarian Party.
The Libertarian. Don't get me started. I'm having Adam, how are you still a Libertarian? Are you still a party member?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you think so? You're like,
I think so, as far as I know.
I've been struggling with it recently, dude.
Aren't you like the vice chair though?
I am the vice chair of the whole party. Yeah.
I think I could show you a post I saw on Facebook today that might reignite your kind of fuck you energy to the fakertarians and shit.
I was gonna ask, what are you struggling with, Josh?
Oh man, I don't know. It's hard. I don't, it's like, I don't want to get into like intimate conversations that I've had with certain members of the board and certain members of my own caucus and stuff like that. But, it got pretty hard for me to deal with it when we got to Reno, and I realized that like a lot of the caucus that I helped build was like against me. You know what I mean? Like that fucking hurt really bad because I was like, dude, I like bled for this motherfucker, dude. Like you have no idea, dude. 48 states in 5 years. I took all the arrows. I opened my family up to all kinds of fucking attacks. Like I put the fucking thing on my back when there was no Dave Smith or Tom Woods or any of that shit. You know what I mean? And I traveled the country and I took those arrows. So like it was hard for me to process and deal with the fact that people in my own caucus were going to vote for a guy who was a prag like 1 year prior. You know what I mean? And that was hard for me to deal with, but I got over that. You know what I mean? I didn't cry about it a bunch in public or anything like that, but
you won.
Yeah, and I won.
It stung, but it's
in four fucking rounds, but I won. Yeah, but that
was kind of exciting though.
It was fun. I was nervous as fuck.
It's kind of like the startup CEO effect, where like building something and maintaining something require different skill sets.
But it's also so. I was very embarrassed of the Libertarian Party for a long time. Okay,
you should be.
I joined the party in 2010, and it was fucking embarrassing. 2012 was Gary Johnson's first run, which was less embarrassing than 2016. I'll say that. Judge Jim Gray, his vice presidential candidate, was less embarrassing than Bill Weld, but still Lolberty and fucking embarrassing. This is the guy who said that it should be illegal to try and hand out jury nullification pamphlets in front of the court, and he was a judge. So Judge Jim Gray, Adam, out there in California.
That guy called me.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
And then I started asking about the Fed and the military-industrial complex, and I wasn't getting like good answers. And I'm like, I'm not into this guy.
Yeah. Well, so he was the vice presidential candidate in 2012, and it was embarrassing. I didn't vote for them. Of course, I famously wrote in Ron Paul in 2012. And then in 2016 was just an absolute fucking shit show for me. I thought it was disgusting. I hate Bill Weld. I think Bill Weld was such a, you know what I mean? And I even helped the campaign a little bit at the time. But I was a lot more Lolberty in 2016 than I am now. But I did it like holding my nose, and I didn't vote for them. Like I refused to vote for them. And then of course, Joe Jorgensen was like a sweet little old grandma who should have never ran for president. Spike Cohen should have 100% been at the top of that ticket.
Absolutely.
So I didn't vote for her either. I wrote in Spike Cohen.
That's incredibly based.
Yeah. And so my own party gives me a lot of shit for that. course, because they're like, you're the vice chair of the party. You've never even voted for the presidential ticket. I'm like, no, dude. Like, fuck. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? Like, why would I vote for people I don't believe in? And
okay, if Dave Smith were the nominee,
but I'm still.
Would you
here's
vote
the
for
deal.
him?
I'm voting. If Dave Smith runs in 2024, there's no doubt in my mind that I'll vote for. I would quit. I would quit my job and be his campaign man.
Based,
Like I fucking
incredibly
love Dave.
based. I fucking love Dave.
I don't know that. Of course, I'm under no guise that we're gonna win the presidential election in 2024. Okay?
Yeah, there's like the Doctor Strange
there's
one possible future where it happens out of 700 billion.
Yeah, and I'm under no illusion that would happen. But I do know for a fact that he could very well likely pass that 5% threshold.
Absolutely.
Get us major party status in the country, included in all the debates, that stuff. I also believe 100% that Dave has what it takes to make thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not a million new libertarians with the right platform. And so I am firmly in the Dave Smith for president camp now, right now, without anybody being announced. I am firmly in that camp. If it was some variation of Dave Smith and Spike Cohen, even better. Even if it was Spike Cohen at the top of the ticket and Dave Smith as vice president, I don't give a shit. I think that team would work very hard. I think Spike's already traveled the country once for a campaign that treated him like shit, but knows how to do it, knows where to go, knows what to say, and I think that he could help Dave Smith a lot on that. I also wouldn't be opposed to something like Dave Smith at the top of the ticket and blue-pilled Mr. What's his name from Michigan? Amash.
Oh yeah.
I also wouldn't be opposed to that. But I wouldn't want Amash at the top of the ticket. Honestly, would not.
Yeah, I think it would reflect super well on like the new direction of the Libertarian Party.
It would make us look like more of the same. I think he's got much more base takes than any of the presidential candidates since like 2004. Okay.
Yeah.
Because 2004 we had Michael Badnarik, who was so based that he refused to ask the government for the right to drive.
Yeah,
Rest in peace to Michael Badnarik.
I know this would never happen, but like Larry Sharp would be another person that I would love to see on the ticket. Like,
yes,
he's
my concern with Larry is that Larry is very fucking New York, and most of the country will not get Larry Sharp.
But Trump was super.
No. Larry is way more New York than Trump.
But most of the country didn't get Trump, but Trump kind of got most of the country.
Yeah, but Larry's not going to go play. Larry's also not going to go play the game like Trump did. He's not going to play the what's the word that I'm looking for?
The shitpost game.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What's that word that the libertarians fucking hate that I don't think's that bad when you play on people's fears?
Populism.
Yeah, populism. Larry's not going to play the populism.
Yeah, no,
and Trump played the populism.
Yeah, Larry Sharp is a let's find efficient, creative, positive, uplifting solutions to things.
New York black dude with a heavier accent than most people that you know, and the South is not going to get Larry, dude. And that worries me for Larry as the presidential. I love Larry. I think he's one of the best.
Larry does amazing things in New York, and like his appearance on Rogan, I like point people to that all the time.
My only criticism of Larry on Rogan was he needed to have a better answer for education.
For New York specifically, I thought, I think it showed off. Like, I think it was brilliant for New York specifically. Like in a broader context,
and I don't think Rogan understood what
he
was saying either. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people in the country are like Rogan, and they're not going to get Larry. You know what I mean?
Because Larry was like, for New York specifically, we're much further gone than the rest of the country, and so this is a way to like start pulling it back rather than
if it was like Dave Smith at the top of the ticket and Larry is like the vice presidential candidate, I'd be stoked. Dude.
Yeah, that's what I was.
But I think my dream ticket at this point in time, right now, would be some variation of Spike Cohen and Dave Smith. I think that.
What about Maj? I was going to ask about Maj Toure.
And I have some concerns with Maj as well. some of the same concerns I have with Larry Sharp.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. and it's not
Yeah.
it's not just the black thing, it's the community thing, right? Like
Mhm.
Maj is fucking, I love Maj to death, right? Like I've hung out with Maj in person,
Yeah.
I've talked to him. He's probably one of the smartest dudes I know. People don't give him credit for how intelligent he is. But he plays to a very specific community. It's the hood,
Yeah.
right? And I'm from the hood, dude. Like, make no mistake about it. I am from the fucking hood, and I get that demographic too. Like, I understand, like, being able to message to the hood is fucking hard, dude. It's hard. In politics, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's going to be very hard for somebody from the hood to message to other communities outside of the hood as a presidential candidate or a vice presidential candidate. So I am concerned with that. But those are also communities that we need to talk to, right? So if it was something like Dave and Maj, I'd be stoked. I'd be working on that campaign too.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. No doubt about it in my mind. So I would be very happy with a Dave and Maj. And I have some gripes with Maj recently, some stuff brought up that I wasn't a super big fan of.
Yeah,
like
I
the
saw that
reparations
too.
thing and stuff. But I think he has a
And,
better
like,
explanation for it.
Him like calling for the doxing of someone or something.
Yeah,
along
that's
those
old. That's old
lines.
hat. But there's some things about Maj that I don't always agree with. But for the most part, I think I agree with Maj on probably 94% of the things that he says and thinks. And I took his speech at Reno to heart more than any other speech I heard there, where he said, we're going to become effective, and if you're not ready to become effective, then jump off now, because some of you are going to take bags of money, and there'll be signs, and we'll know, and some of you might get hurt. And some of you are just not going to be brave enough to do what we have to do to get this done. And I believe that in my heart.
Yeah.
Like, I know, because I've already dealt with that, right? Like, people have
And
already.
that's shooting straight,
Like-
being honest.
Like,
and,
we're talking about
it's
a guy.
telling the truth.
We're talking about a guy who I only got 1 million podcast downloads and views in 1 year. That was the most I had gotten off my show. My platform is not that huge. 1 million downloads. Okay. And I've already had people call my jobs.
Yeah.
I've already had people call CPS to try and get my kids taken away. I've had people fucking do this and that and this and that, right? So, like, I know what he's saying firsthand, because they are. When you're in it and you're making a difference and you're actually doing these things, they will come after you, dude. And so I love Maj. I think he's got a very good outlook. I think he's got the right attitude to message to communities that we have not ever messaged well to. So I wouldn't be mad about that at all. I think that'd be a really good mix too, Dave and Maj. I think that's the fucking. I mean, that's we're messaging to some people there that we've never messaged to, and so I'd be stoked about that too. But to get back to my original point that we fucking trailed way off on, I haven't been happy with some people in the party that I consider good friends trying to tone police other people from our caucus. That's really bummed me out, like tone policing New Hampshire and Jeremy Kaufman and me and Nolan, the chair of NH, and some people from Florida. And I thought that was really, I came to this movement to get rid of those actions, and I'm seeing them start to happen again. I'm seeing a lot of backroom politics happen that I'm not going to bring up here, that I don't like. And I feel like we're still fighting about the same shit. We're dealing with all these fucking state affiliates that are doing this and that and this and that, and people are doing the same fighting, and it's so frustrating to have fought that for this long, and then when your people take over, still see it happening. And so that was what has been hard for me to deal with, and why I've kind of faltered a little bit over the last couple months. It's like, dude, all the work that I did and all the work that my friends did, and I feel like there's still so much more fucking shit to do just to get us away from the shit that we were already trying to get away from. And it's like disheartening. You know what I mean, Adam? That's my angle I'm coming from. It's not that I love the caucus and I love the people that run the caucus. They're good friends. Most of them are good friends. There's a couple of them that can die mad, but there's, most of them are my good friends, and I love the people of the Mises Caucus, and I think absolutely you should join, and you should support them, and you should support the party through them. And I supported Angela for chair. I fucking voted for her on every round. She's been a good friend of mine for a long time. I think she's doing a wonderful job. I think the new LNC is great. And I love the things that they're doing.
Karen Ann has been.
Well, Karen Ann's,
she's been down in the dirt, and
Karen Ann was my homie before the caucus. You know what I mean?
she's
Like,
been
literally.
she's been fighting all those
she's
menial battles that you're so sick and tired of.
So I don't know. Does that answer your question, Adam? I just those were my issues. It's not like I'm saying don't join the party or don't support these people. I think they 100% you should. You know what I mean?
It sounds like though things are better than they were. I mean, it can't be worse than it was with like the Sarwarks and just like all these Lolberts and socialists basically in more control. So even though you're having maybe some issues and problems and things to deal with, I feel like I would hope that at least like things are headed in a much better direction internally, because from the outside I'm not super involved with national and what's involved with the minutia of the daily goings on, but from afar it seems like we're in a much better place. And I was just thinking about how today there was it like a Trump speechwriter or some GOP person who with a big platform on Twitter posted something criticizing the LP and libertarians for all these like crazy views that we don't have, that they were like pushing on us, that we support, and it got totally ratioed. But it's just another example of like more and more conservatives attacking libertarians. So it seems like the LP is doing the right things, at least from the point of view of actual libertarians, looking in at the party from at least somewhat afar.
Yeah, Stephen.
So I think he should be.
Miller is the guy that you're talking about,
right?
He was senior advisor to President Trump.
And I don't know, maybe this will be helpful for you and maybe get your enthusiasm back, but like maybe picture yourself at like where you were at like a darker place like 2, 3, 4 years ago or something. And if somebody came up to you and told you, oh, you're going to be the vice chair of the Libertarian Party in 2022 and the Mises Caucus is going to take over, things aren't going to be perfect, but we're going to control the Twitter, we're going to control the direction, and things are going to be headed in this new direction, you would probably be happy and take that. But I know it's hard to like throw aside all the emotional baggage and the hard work and things you've gone through.
I think just like being in the fucking trenches for as long as I was, dude, like because you got to remember when I got on the national committee in 2018 as an at-large, I was a fucking island, dude. You know what I mean? Like it was me and Sarwark's crew and then Karen Ann, and that was like pretty much it. And Stephen Nikala, who's the homie too, but. It was like I was the one making all the fucking noise on the LNC, and like I couldn't bring any motions to the board at all. If I brought a motion to the board, it would immediately get voted down. It didn't matter if it was good for the party or not. Like they fucking hated me. And I did 2 years like that, bro. And it was stifling and frustrating and disheartening. And then I got on another LNC and it was like the same fucking thing for another 2 years, right? And so like I don't know, man, it was just so like it's been disheartening in general for like 5 years. It's like burnout, you know what I mean? You're like dealing with this shit for 4 years, and then and it is nice to be on an LNC now. Like the LNC now does not bicker. Like they don't fight and argue over dumb shit at all. You're right that the Twitter and the social media is controlled by Reed Cooley, who I'm a fucking big fan of. I love that guy to death.
Except for like that 1 week where it was the NFT.
Oh, when it got fucking taken over by that weird scammer, bro.
Man.
Which is kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed about it, dude. I was like, I'm not even into NFTs. What the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean?
And it wasn't the guy. Like it wasn't the actual artist.
Yeah,
it was
him personally. And you know what's funny is like that post is still like up somewhere and people keep tagging me in it somehow. And I don't know. And it's not like my people. It's like random NFT bot accounts still like tag me in these fucking NFT posts from like all these other hoax scam pages. And I know it's them trying to fish to get my Twitter, which is really weird. I don't know. It's very bizarre, dude.
Yeah, that's what convinced me that there were so many bots on Twitter, because I went to like one of those posts and they had like 200 retweets or something, and all of them were NFT bots, and they all said the same thing on the retweet.
Yeah. Well, now we know how NFTs got famous, because there's no other reason for them whatsoever. Fucking weird. Anyways, we're getting to the end of the live show here, buddy. Of course, we will do a members only stream if you're down, Adam. It would be about 10 to 20 to 30 minutes max in the members only. But before we go, man, so what's coming next for you, man? You got the show, you got the short film that people can see now on YouTube. What can they look up to find that?
Erased. Oh, the edited movie.
The edited, yeah.
And I have it embedded on my website, and it's on YouTube as well. Adam Choit, the YouTube channel. But the editedmovie.com has everything on it: the movie playable and trailer and clips and more information and all that. So that's definitely where you can find that. And I didn't really even describe the movie at all, but basically it's a dystopian psychological satire about a girl who enters a new school in a new part of the country, and she finds that they teach all kinds of crazy, evil things. And they teach that Big Brother was the hero of 1984. They teach that it was the Declaration of dependence on the powers that be, of course, in this society. So we wonder, will this new pupil fight for truth, or will she fall victim to this cult-like environment? And I think that's the movie I made. So I hope you guys enjoy it and check it out.
So is there going to be a follow-up to it, Adam?
I'm working on it. I'm working on developing it into a longer form project, a feature film. I've actually connected with more liberty-minded other writers, and we got a whole little writers group going, and I've been getting feedback and developing a whole new thing. So I definitely want to continue with this story and this world in some capacity. And the feedback and the reception has been very positive and enthusiastic, and everyone's asking that question: what's coming next? For sure.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing, and I think taking that idea and making it into a feature full length. I mean, that would be really fucking. I mean, I would definitely stand it and spread it around for you, bro. There's no doubt about that.
I appreciate that. It seems like it's the time for this type of content. Like, I admire so much what like Eric July is doing in the comic book space, and just all these other opportunities seem to be presenting themselves. Even if you get canceled, you got to just go on another platform and just keep being resilient in this crazy world.
I think it's the culture war, right? And there's some libertarians that get really mad about you bringing up the culture war is bullshit. We don't fight culture in the libertarian. No, dude, you have to. If you're not willing to fight the culture war, you're never going to win.
Politics.
You're never going to win, dude. Culture is politics is downwind of culture.
I've heard culture is downstream of politics. Politics is downstream of culture. I like culture and politics are cyclical.
I think that if you don't change the culture, you cannot change the politics. I think the culture is very important, and I think we have to be involved in the culture war, because libertarian culture is not the dominant culture in this country. And until it is, we have to fight the culture war. And so if we want to change the politics, if we want to change the political landscape, we need to get people thinking differently. And the way to do that is through culture, not through politics. Nobody listens to these politicians and changes their fucking mind. You know what I mean? People listen to these politicians and go, oh yeah, they agree with me, I'm going to vote for them.
Yeah, but some of the things the politicians do and influence can change the nature of culture.
To brave people, buddy. Very brave. Most people get their training thoughts from their comic books and their movies,
but shutting
and their news
things
channels
like
and their
potentially shutting down the acquisition of Twitter.
Motherfucker I have ever met in my life.
Absolutely, and that's why the fuck I'm sitting in this chair right here.
Well, Adam, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm a fan, and I can't wait to see what you do next with the show or the movie or any other. I mean, if you got anything else coming out as well, I'll always be willing to have you on and talk about it.
No, I appreciate it.
Out. I think I do agree with you 100%. We need to do more things like this. I think podcast space is great, and if you can put out a good show that looks good and sounds good, you should do that. But there's so many other facets of this war, and I think that cinema and entertainment are probably the hugest part of that, because that's just how people learn to think emotionally. That's how they learn how to feel emotionally. It's when they sympathize with a character in a movie or a song or comic book character. It just really changing people emotionally is important, and I think that what you're doing is great, man. So thank you for that. And one more time for people, if they want to find you, listen to you, all that stuff, where can they do that at?
Oh, I appreciate all the kind words and compliments and time and all that. At Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter is a good way to follow me. I have a couple of podcasts, and I've actually been also producing a comedy show in Southern California in Los Angeles that's sponsored by the Mises Caucus. I have one coming up November 12th. You definitely want to check that out if you're going to be in the area. But I would say theeditedmovie.com, at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter, and you could find me and the movie and my podcast. I'll just tell you quickly about my couple of podcasts, if that's cool.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, man.
One is called People We Love, and what I do with that one is interview people from all walks of life, most often comedians and other entertainers and creative types about their lives and careers. But I also just ask them to highlight the people they love, who've inspired them, influenced, help them in their career, their journey, That's been a lot of fun. Been doing that one for a couple of years now. And the other one is all about my favorite band. I think we've talked about this before. All this stuff behind me is related to Tedeschi Trucks Band. They're a 12-piece blues rock soul powerhouse group fronted by Susan Tedeschi and Derek Trucks, a virtuoso guitar player, slide guitar. And I'm just a crazy fan of them and been hosting a fan podcast about them for a couple of years. And that's been super fun getting more and more ingrained in that community. It's fun to just be part of these different like subcultures and communities. And in terms of my movie, I just want to say that it's been really a joy to see people who are from all different, political backgrounds enjoying and appreciating the movie, which is like you were saying, it's like the culture comes first, and then that's where you reach people on an emotional level. But thank you again, Josh, for letting me go through my spiel. And
yeah, of course,
for giving me the time and all that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm happy to do it. I'm a fan, and I, like I said, I can't wait to see what you come up with next, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And if you could just give us like 5 minutes to close this thing out, we'll start the members only stream.
Sounds good. I'll hang out.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
You got it.
All right, guys. Another awesome episode of Break the Cycle. He's great. I love him to death, dude. Like I've talked with him, but I've never had the chance to sit down and talk that much with him. And he's awesome, dude. You definitely should go support his movie. Check it out. It's like, what is it, 15 minutes long?
11 minutes, 11 and a half minutes on YouTube, and like the credits start at like 10:30 or something.
Yeah, I should have watched it again before we did the show.
10 minutes.
I watched it several months ago on video.
Yeah, you can search the edited on YouTube, and it'll be the first result. That's exactly what I did to find it.
Yeah. Totally worth it, dude.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good stuff. Cinematically, it was done really well.
And the set design is awesome.
I think, the set was great. It was really done very professionally. It's really good. And I think, it's definitely something that he could build on and make something really, really great from. I
thought the town name was incredibly clever because I think it's Hilltown, but with the way the characters speak, sometimes you just hear it as Helltown.
Well, and the way that it's broken up into, like, the country's broken up into regions. It was just it's a really cool thing. And I don't want to spoil it for everybody. I want you guys all go watch it, check it out, and support this creator that's making this kind of stuff that is important to our culture and our fight. And man, support the people that are doing this stuff. Important. Of course, you guys can also support our show by checking out Patreon or Subscribestar. Either one of those is the website.com / Break the Cycle JS, or you can sign up to support us through Google. Does take a shit ton of third to Google. And then Odyssey sounds like they got some memberships coming up soon too. So hopefully if we start streaming Odyssey, we'll get but definitely go and support our guest first if you can, if there's next venture. Always check that out. Also, go check out our sponsors. Of course, we have toplobster.com, the man, the myth, legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great custom dark camo Break the Cycle hoodie, sundown logo hoodie. I'm fucking repeating everything. By using BTC at checkout, or you can join one of those platforms that I just talked about and get into a private Discord server where you can get all of Top Lobster's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like 30%. Really great shit, man. You're supporting us both and saving money. Dope, man. I think it's great. And before we move on to any more sponsors, Thursday night we have another show, and Clint from Lockdown will be by.
I'm excited because
I wish he was coming to the studio.
But
one of these days we'll have Clint in the studio.
He died on us last time we had him.
Yeah, last time we had Clint on, our stream cut out at about 32 minutes. So it'll be nice to have Clint back in the studio for a makeup show. I'm sure we'll talk about ESG, school, financial sector, the housing market, and tyrants in the government, and Alex Jones, because he just had Alex Jones show. And he's also having, I think tonight or tomorrow, having Judge Knapp on the show.
Okay, I know he had Tom Woods earlier.
Yeah, he's had Tom Woods on. I've had Tom Woods on. I had Tom Woods on my show before he had Tom Woods on.
Well, I think the most, like, this was the first time Tom Woods was on a show because he was tweeting about he had like a list of 10 people and he has like
I had Tom Woods on the show, and I also got Tom Woods to say the F word in members only. Not a member. you should become a member so that you can go watch that episode with Tom Woods where he debates whether a hot dog is a sandwich and also drops an F-bomb in the members only. It was pretty dope. And of course, executive producer of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today, see what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at, much cheaper and much more efficiently. They help organizations solve unsolvable problems in the technology and HR arenas. Their team leads by example. Anthem consultants have led their own organizations through demanding periods of change. Now they help clients succeed in the face of technology and personnel challenges. Plus, Amy Lepore is just an absolute badass. Seriously, if you own a business or you have something like making a movie like Adam, or you're trying to build some kind of empire, there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead of you, and they're going to help you with those challenges. So you should probably hit them up and see what they can do for you. It's going to save you money in the long run. You know what I mean? And of course, executive producers of the show, Colwell Creative Content. My good friend Craig and Nicole Colwell own that. They specialize in things like SEO to help your site rank well on Google or other search engines, website design, optimized website content writing, optimized blog post, copywriting, social media content management, newsletter writing and design, ghostwriting and editing services, resume and cover letter writing. They work with all kinds of clients, including real estate, addiction treatment, mental health, healthcare, banking and payment processing.
Not the Federal
Reserve or the CIA podcast. They've worked with just about every industry, even libertarian political influencers such as my mentor in politics and good friend Larry Sharp. If they're good enough for Larry Sharp, I promise you they're good enough for you. He's guy literally trains CEOs for a living. I'll never let people forget the fact that man trains the highest level executives in the country in private business every day. They've been in business since 2012, and they've worked with hundreds of clients. Help you get in front of your target audience. I promise you, they're gonna help you grow your portfolio in ways that you didn't know possible. But check them out today. Ryan, before we take off, you wonderful, beautiful haired man, you got anything for the audience?
Follow me on Twitter at BulldogGamer28. I think most of you in the chat already do, but people watching on afterwards, go ahead and
follow my boy
there.
Bulldog Gamer on Twitter. Mr. Ryan Kurtz needs some more. He needs some more followers. Dude.
Yeah, try and give me I want to try and get to 200.
Yeah, you got to get this guy to
Twitter.
200. People finally almost got me back to 3,000. I was at one point at 20,000, and then Twitter kneecapped me.
I mean, I'm at my highest ever. I've been on Twitter for 9 years.
I know. Guys, I love you to death. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on Mondays and Thursdays. One more Monday show. This next show will be our last Monday show going forward for the foreseeable future. We will be doing shows on Tuesday and Thursday because Ryan over here decided that he's going to start playing fucking adult rec league basketball or some dumb shit like that. So that's what Ryan's going to do. So of course I'm willing to reorganize my entire life so this dude can play something that won't even win him a medal. But that's okay. That's all right, buddy. Hope you don't hurt your knees or something. They don't give you health insurance and that shit. You know what I mean?
And I think I'll be all right.
Saying the guy who played fucking semi-pro football well into his 30s. Yeah. I played my last season of semi-pro football at 30. I was 34 years old, I think. And that was brutal. But I can healthily say that I made it through without any terribly debilitating injuries that I needed healthcare for. But if I had been hurt, the league wasn't paying for that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that I didn't, break my neck or some dumb shit. Just a couple of concussions, no big deal.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, 34-year-old concussions they hit a little different than 21-year-old concussions for sure. But I'm living, breathing, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys on Thursday night for the show with my good friend Clint from Liberty Lockdown. Until then, don't forget to break.
Due to legal reasons, I just have to explain. The lyrics of my last song may seem to contain a violent call to action in the verse and refrain, but I just landed in Minecraft. The helicopter part was in reference to GTA 5 and the things you do. So any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just landed in Minecraft. What Chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just landed in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make you a corpse. In Minecraft, just in Minecraft. Nothing I mean, you know it. No product bidders cause they're closed for COVID. Holy shit, I think